Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Plain Truth. The United States torture policy continues despite global outrage. Obama administration is closely resembling George W. Bush's regime in numerous torture and murder facilities it runs around the globe. I mean, we've got all these different torture places all over the place. Be told that the United States still maintains its secret prisons in Europe, Morocco, Jordan, Egypt, Syria, and Somalia. I mean, we take people over to these different places and we torture them. That doesn't make, I mean, this is unchristian. Where in the world are the American leaders speaking up against this? Where are the Christian leaders speaking up against this? This is wrong to be torturing people. If you want to find out the truth, you give them the truth serum. It's interesting, when I was taking a psychology course, they say even you can use the machine to tell if a person is lying. You don't have to hook them up to it. And they can. It'd be interesting if they ever put that on the politicians and see when they're talking, giving their talks about it. And here's another AFP report, American Free Press interviews an innocent man. On May 19th, he spoke to Mohsen Beg, a Pakistani citizen who was kidnapped in 2002. The United States realized he was not the right guy, but they kept him anyway. They figured, well, maybe he has a lot of connections. So what they did was they wanted to know all kinds of things from him, and eventually they took him to a prison, and he saw firsthand what's going on with the prison. From the outset, he said, it's even worse than your own torture, watching what's going on. He said, watching somebody else's torture. Men were stripped naked, beaten, thrown on the floor, and had their facial hair forcibly shaven, and were paraded around naked as ferocious dogs growled at them. I watched all these atrocities, and I knew it would happen to me. In regard to his own tortures, Beg said, during the CIA interrogation, my arms were hog-tied to my legs as he was kicked and punched. Next, pictures of my wife and kids were revealed, with threats that they would be tortured, or I'd never see them again. To add more impact to it, a woman in adjacent room kept screaming. I was led to believe it was my wife, but worse was watching people being beaten to death. He has this book, this webpage, Cage Prisoners. Please check it out. A man was hung from the ceiling until his body had gone limp. Instead of helping him, they tried to get him to stand up when he would. They just kept on beating him. Finally, they beat him to death. This is vicious. This is wrong. Then you have inside these torture chambers. They want to know who was behind all this thing. Worthington said over in this other article by Victor Thorne, when asked about who was in charge, Dark Prison is a former Russian factory. Who's in charge of all this? And eventually he came out with all the different people in our administration who were for it. You have to look at Dick Cheney and Donald Rumsfeld. Prior to George W. Bush election, both men worked for Nixon, Ford, and Reagan, and Bush Sr., while defending Iran-Contra. These guys believed in unfettered power for the executive power. We have no government. We just the president can do anything he wants. They push the limits of the program and feel rules don't apply to them. According to them, the president can do whatever he wants and not have a government of law and order. Thank you very much for watching Plain Truth. Please, let's do something about it.